listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Miriam Gonzalez and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Girls After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Girls After Show.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kelly, and Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another Girls After Show on AFTERBUZZ TV. Our episode today is entitled The Return, and we're at Season 1, Episode 6. And I want to remind everybody to please go to iTunes and download our podcast and rate and comment. There's a lot of cool stuff happening on this show right now. And tonight's episode was pretty weird. I really don't know how I feel about it. So we're going to get into all of that, and we want to know what you think about it. So make sure to leave a comment. Tell us what you think. You can also tweet at us at AFTERBUZZ TV. But make sure to go to iTunes and download, please. It's all free. So let's get into last week's episode.
Ooh, okay. So last week's episode was very sexual. Marnie, of course, with Hannah's diary the week before, Marnie tries to now win Charlie back. And during sex, she decides to break it off. It was a very awkward interaction between the two of them, only because of Charlie's neediness and abandonment issues and having to mention them during intercourse. And also last week with Hannah, she finally decides to take it upon herself to take the initiative to go and approach her boss, come on to him, try to have sex with him, extort from him, and then she winds up quitting her job due to sexual reasons, only to go to Adam for comfort to find that, well, he's not that comforting, and he decides to masturbate in front of her, not let her be a part of it, and wants to be dominated, which that's the one thing that she actually finally got.
Right.
With all the things that she doesn't really ever really get, that's the one thing that she got, that she has to dominate him to get him to be interested in her. And then, of course, we left off with Jessa meeting up with her ex, who had dumped her in prior years, her wanting to get her power back from him. And as a result of doing so, she brings him back to Shoshana's apartment, only to have Shoshana kind of stuck in the closet watching the whole sexual escapade. It was almost like Virgin 101, this is how you get it done. And that's where we left off last week.
So the whole episode last week was all about relationships and sex and everything. So we brought some special guests with us tonight who kind of talk about relationships from the male perspective. So, as you know, every week we like to have a guy in and to kind of get that male perspective of the show. So please introduce yourselves, guys. Say hello.
Hi, my name's Corey Jenkins.
I am Brad Swanson, and yeah, we host a show called The Mailroom TV, where it is all about authentic relationships and all of that stuff from the male perspective.
So we definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about tonight's episode with Hannah and her pharmacist, her parents, and all that good stuff. But you completely forgot to introduce yourselves.
It's okay. You were so into the episode.
I know.
We just let it roll.
I think I'm still shocked by the whole parents thing that happened.
Well, the guy said this episode was awkwardly awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll roll with that.
So Hannah goes back to visit her parents. And before she takes off, I love that her luggage is a trash bag. That just really, again, it shows the age and...
Oh, yeah.
She
couldn't go to a thrift store and pick up an old beat up one. She has
not even a backpack.
Nothing.
No, it's a trash bag. And so she comes out with her stuff. Her parents are excited to see her. They greet her. And then, of course, all of her stuff falls out.
Because Dad doesn't know how to handle her luggage. And so he winds up pouring all of her, panties and shoes and such all over the concrete.
The fact that she was able to check that in is what I'm surprised about.
How did they even take that through baggage claim?
Well, you can see through it, so that's a good thing. And if you tie it, you're good to go. I mean, like it's I guess just as good. Like a box, you know, when you check in a box when you go to the airport, same kind of deal.
I thought that scene was a little personally contrived. The whole that thing, just because then he like dumps it out. It was funny, but I'm like, I don't know. It would have been funnier if it like tore.
I thought
or
it
something.
did tear.
You know, Did it tear? I thought he just turned it upside down.
I think he turned it
I
upside
think
down.
he turned it upside down too.
Yeah, because it's
okay.
just too much. Like for that scene, like to work, like tear. You know, have it be like it rips apart and then it falls out, and then I'd have been like, okay, that's a little funnier to me.
Like maybe it gets caught in the car door.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you
something
go.
like that.
I thought it just showed unconditional love, right? I mean, dad, he's just happy to see his daughter. It doesn't matter
true.
if all of her delicates fall out of the bag at one time. He doesn't care. He's just like, bring her
That's
home for a
true.
weekend. It's all good.
I like how they brought her home for their anniversary.
I
We want to
know.
hang out with our best friend, who we cut off just a few
I
weeks
thought that
ago.
was really sweet, though, because she is a part of their existence and their love. She's a symbol of their love. So I
Right.
can understand why they would want to bring her home. Kind of like when your mother gives you a gift on Mother's Day. She wouldn't be a mother if it wasn't for you.
Yeah, in fact,
Yeah.
he even had that line. He said something about referring to her and saying that we created. So I thought that was kind of cool. That
Yeah. I think so too. I mean, but that also kind of is the reason why she is the way she is.
Yeah.
Because they coddle her way too much.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they don't let her, you know, the mom's trying to, you know, break it off a little. But I like even so that the mom says, you know, I cut her off so she'd have something to write about.
I mean, I like that. You know, sometimes, especially in her position, by being taken care of by her parents for the past 2 years, she needs a little bit of a push. So I think it was
Right.
great on the mother's part to give her that push in the first episode. But at the same time, you know, when her and her mother are having the conversation after the whole sex thing, which we'll talk about in a second, you know, she's like, I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I want to make sure you're okay, and I apologize for cutting you off without making sure that you were like ready to be cut off.
Right.
And so I think she's kind of slowly regretting that. But Hannah at this point has not even divulged any information as far as her quitting her job.
Right.
Right.
And, you know, which I loved how she said to Marnie, Marnie's like, by the way, the rent's due next week. She's like, yeah, I got it. It's all taken care of. And they go in reference to her job. She's like, yeah, I just didn't want to have my breast rubbed every time I go to work. I mean, unless you like it, and then
So why
then fine.
didn't she ask her parents for the money? Was it for her own independence because her mom was proud of her for that moment? What was the real reason, you think?
I think that had a lot to do with it. I think that, you know, her mom was finally not being so rough with her and just saying, you know, I'm proud that you took that challenge and you're making it work, and how are you really?
Yeah.
And then it kind of made her not want to say, oh, well, I couldn't do it. And I mean, because I know I think, at least I hope deep down she knows that quitting her job in the manner that she did was really stupid.
Oh, without
Was
a
it
doubt.
though? Because if you were being sexually harassed,
In the manner that which she did, you know, what I, like the
Without
way
having
that
something
she,
set up
yeah,
first.
the way that she went about
like
it.
let the sexual harassment extend until you get a job.
You know, at least look for another job. No, you should never have to put up with something like that. But no, it's never appropriate. You know, nothing like that. But the way that she did, you don't go into your boss's office, put his hand on your boob, and say, "Let's do this." You just don't do that.
I've been doing it wrong this whole time. Then
I mean, it's just not the way to go, guys.
But she doesn't have the smarts in her head to do that. She doesn't know how to do she doesn't know how to deal with situations like that properly.
She doesn't know how to deal with any situations
Right.
properly. She's
Well-
not very. She doesn't have any kind of. Like people skills. Maybe that's not the right word, but she's not very
She's
savvy.
awkward.
Like she's
awkward.
she's ridiculously
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, but isn't that like kind of like the point? I mean, she's pointing that out. That's the whole point of the show, is
Right,
like
it
that
is.
total awkwardness.
But it's having to learn from that, and that's what I want to
Right.
see. Like I want to see her learn from that and come back and know, okay, well, in public, you can't necessarily act this
she
certain
doesn't
way.
have social skills.
No, you
don't
can't
know.
always say
but that's her
everything that comes
parents'
out of your
fault
head.
once again.
Right.
Right.
I think I
Yeah.
disagree with all of you on that. That's part of what I enjoyed the most about it is seeing her character be that raw. I actually wish, to me, that was the authenticity in it. And for everything from the conversation with her boss to, you know, the possibility of sticking her finger in that dude's butt when they're having sex.
Yeah.
That was
Because it's like,
That was
to me, that just
was
shows
an
that
innocent
she's,
mistake.
Well,
Yeah.
well, she's just expressing
It's an
herself.
innocent mistake.
See, I don't like it when people learn how to do life appropriately and they go about it that way. I like when they're like, hey, this is what I'm feeling, so I'm going to communicate it to you and let's see what happens. And that's part of why I like her character.
Yeah.
Well, no, her character's cool in that sense too, but there are some things where you have to kind of taper it and tone it down a little bit.
Well,
and you just kind of do.
I agree with you. The point is like just because I'm kind of new to watching this show, is that I I'm in the in between where, you know, she's learning, and it's like there's this awkwardness about her, and I know what you're saying, but you have to get there. Like, you have to learn that
You
stuff
have to
to get there,
Right.
and like it's like the learning process. So I'm sure as the show unfolds, it's going to show more of that, because like there's one thing about being authentic, which we're always about, but at the same time, she's not connected to anything about, like, she is just, it's truthful, but totally, she's like an alien, like another planet.
She's like a sponge that is just absorbing everything and just giving and regurgitating what she just learned at the moment.
Like,
in the
It's
moment.
not,
There's
and
no
that takes away from the authenticity of it.
Yeah.
Well,
I like her.
I think that
No, I think we all like her. She's just a weirdo.
I do too. I do too.
I think
But
that she
she's-
gets that from her parents, though, and you see that in the parents' dynamic when they go to
Yes.
pick her up.
Yes.
When they go to talk about, you know, oh, so this is our plans for the weekend. I have food in the fridge. Let's watch some movies.
Oh, she's hungry.
Why are you texting?
Yeah.
You know, she.
Well, I have a question. Do you guys relate to her? Like, do you guys relate to these characters at all in your own life?
Yes.
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 Is there
Absolutely.
things-
Not Hannah, but yes.
Yeah.
Well, even Hannah, the issues that she deals with, whether it's her weight or insecurity with the guy who she's dating,
Yeah.
or the random choices that she's making and decisions with friends, or even in the bedroom, she's learning by trial and error.
Yes.
That's how we do it, folks.
Yeah.
I
Thank
just
you.
Yes.
did it younger than
Yes.
she did. Like, I was a
maybe
little
in
bit more
a-
mature than she was at her age. Like, I was
And,
cut
yeah.
off way before her. So it's just now she's becoming an adult in her 20s when it should have been when they first sent her off to college.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like she's a little behind the curve.
Yeah,
there.
she's a
A
little
little bit.
slow. At this
Well,
point, she should already know some of the things that
I
she's
like,
going through.
I like that, like, she's, you know, that she's, first of all, like, she's kind of frumpy, you know,
Yeah.
that she's like, she's just kind of your average, like,
But she
frump-
recognizes it.
No,
Like,
no,
she's
no,
aware
no,
of
no, no,
this.
completely. I mean, I love that, and that she's just like making her way like through it, you
Yeah.
know, stumbling through it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's definitely got her own style. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
'Cause every time I see her character get dressed or come out in
Yeah.
something, it's always a very unique style.
Oh, yeah.
And I just really want her to comb her hair. Good lord.
Yeah.
But I don't even think she thinks that like there's anything wrong with
No,
it.
and she doesn't. And she,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
she can work and she gets away with it and like all of that. But, you know, honey, sometimes it doesn't make you less of a writer or whatever you want to be if you just run a brush through. It just doesn't.
Well,
just
Jess is
doesn't.
gonna have to tell her first, or someone's gonna have to tell her. You know, you should comb your hair, and then she'll start doing it on a regular
she can
basis.
go to AfterBuzzTV.com, click on our Amazon
There you
banner,
go.
and she can get all the beauty tips she needs.
All the
That's
brushes,
all the
hair
brushes,
Everything
you
and
know.
more.
She needs to like tweeze her. She needs to do her eyebrows again, but not
Not
the
like
way
the
not the
chola.
chola eyebrows. No more chola eyebrows.
But you guys have to admit, one thing you love about her is her honesty.
Totally.
Because people pretty much point stuff out to her all the time when she's telling the guy about her being a writer, and she's admitting to the fact that she has no money. Most people would lie about that kind of stuff to
Yeah.
carry this facade to
Yes,
be cool.
correct.
And
Thank you.
she's very transparent,
Yes.
That's-
which I do
Yes.
appreciate in her
Yes.
as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
she's very blunt and very honest. I think almost to her a fault.
But that's
a
what
little
makes
bit.
it funny.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like that's honesty is what makes comedy.
No, it is, but I don't know. It's not necessarily. There's a difference between being, you know, honest and open about your life and all that, and understanding what you're being honest about. But she's just like blurting out words. I don't necessarily feel
Yeah.
that she
There's
understands.
no filter.
No, you're right.
What do you do
You're
for
right.
work? I'm a writer. Is that how
Yeah.
you make money? No, I don't have any money. So that's
Yeah.
not her job. That's not what she
Yeah.
does. She doesn't understand what she's saying. You see what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
I
think she
she's
does.
just like blurting out stuff.
Yeah.
I actually love it. That's part of what I enjoyed the most is that to me that's real dialogue. I wish
Yeah.
more people talked like that. You can call it naivete, you can call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
If I would have had that as models, I would think I would have been self-expressed at a much younger age
called
than I was.
honesty.
Yes, thank you. That's how I see it
Yeah.
too. And I don't think you need to refine honesty. I think you figure it out by having the experiences.
It's both. I mean, it's both. It's
It-
what you're saying and his.
it-
And I'm interested to see where the show goes.
Right.
I'm interested to see how it develops and her learning curve
If
in
she
the
grows
process.
up?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just because it takes time to be honest. It takes time to learn what that even means.
Right.
Like when you say stuff.
Very
and then,
true.
And then you get a reaction, and then you're like, oh, like you. It's a process
Yeah.
as you learn to speak your truth.
Well, I'll say this, for all the things that she says that are very honest, in tonight's episode, she was dishonest with her parents regarding her job.
She wasn't.
Right.
She didn't divulge the information. They're like,
No,
so
she
how's
said she
your
was
job
still
going?
working. She didn't say she quit her job.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so
Oh.
I think that's what she should have. That's what normally would happen with
You're right,
talking
you're right,
with
yeah.
friends, like, she runs into her friend Heather. And then she could have easily been like, oh, yeah, New York's fabulous. Everything's great. But no, she's honest about herself to everyone except for her parents.
Which
Right.
is totally normal with all of us,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Everybody's had the hardest time with their
She
Yeah.
parents.
got a glimpse of approval for the first time because these are people who took care of her and coddled her, like we said. And then
Yeah.
the moment her mother gave her just an ounce of respect, she's like, "Oh, I'm living in this moment. I'm going to just ride with this."
Yeah,
So I think
right.
that's why she didn't come clean. But to everybody else, even Adam, she came clean to him. Yeah, okay, you know what? I did call you. So and at first we thought she was going
Yes.
to ride out that lie, like most women would.
No,
But she
I
came
think I
clean
button
with it.
dialed you.
I wonder if they'll pick up the next episode at that point, though, because am I right? At the very end, when her mother then asked her if she's okay monetarily, they kind of left it hanging. So I wonder if that's how they'll start up the next episode with her coming clean about that as well.
I mean, we'll see. I hope so. We can talk about that when we get into like predictions and stuff about what we think is going to happen. But I don't know. I mean, I was hoping that she would go back and try to get another job more quickly in this episode, and we would see that. So I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't.
I thought they were going to take us down that path too.
Yeah.
I actually thought she was going to come back home for this pharmacist, and then they definitely cut that off because she's still in love with Adam.
Yeah.
So
Well, I thought it
she's
was-
going back to New York.
Of course she's going to go back to New York because
Yeah.
that's where she's going to get all of her stories and her essays for her book that's going to take 100 years to write.
Right.
She's not going to get those kinds of experiences that she's having in Michigan. She's not going to have that like
Yeah.
she
In
did
Ohio?
in New York. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Ohio.
I almost said Ohio.
I know, right?
But it's one of those things where she knows that New York is the place where she's going to get and gain the experience that she
Right.
wants to write about, and she's not going to get that at home. And you see that when she has the interaction with Eric, the pharmacist. Now, in the episode, her mom is having like crazy hot flashes and needs medication, which I thought it was funny. You were hilarious, Maddie. You're like, why did she stop?
Her mom was dying, and she goes and visits
Yeah.
a friend.
Yeah, I know, it's true.
She's like,
That
"I'll
is
just take
the
a pit stop."
immaturity of her, though.
Again, it goes
Yeah.
back
Because
to
that's what you
her-
would do at 13. You would play with your friends and then do your chores.
Right.
But in this instance, her mom is having a stroke or flashes or whatever she's going through, and she stops to see a girlfriend and catch up.
Well, she still is really self-absorbed, and is
Absolutely.
cool.
Yes.
Like she's self-absorbed, and she's not. That's why her life isn't working. I mean, and I know that it's going to develop as the show goes on, but it shows the level of immaturity. And as like you make those decisions where your life is a mess because you do stupid stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, and at this point in her life, I mean, she should already be kind of over that hump a little bit.
Yeah, she
A
should be a
little
little
bit
bit more
She should
mature.
Yeah,
be
but there's so
a
many
little bit
people who-
further over that.
There's so many people I could say that about
Right,
in real
very
life.
true.
Thank
What are you
you.
talking
your
about?
friends probably,
Like,
right?
it's all depends on each person.
Yeah. But I don't know. She's just.
Can I just say the spicy quote of the night is, "I'm tight like a baby."
Yes.
Oh my God.
Do you guys know I'm gonna use that one? Like, I'm gonna use that.
I had seriously.
come
If you
on.
said that to me, I don't even know what I would do. That is.
I had to ask
seriously
you guys what she
disturbing.
said because I was like, "There's no way I caught that."
But
accurately.
that goes back to her
I'm
relationship
tight
with
like
Adam.
a baby.
Yes.
Because Adam
What?
has this
Oh, right.
weird
Right.
Right.
fetish
Right.
of
Exactly.
wanting to have sex with her when she's like a child.
Do you want me to
with
leave
her
my
parents.
boots on?
Yeah.
Which is kind of,
Right, right.
Yeah.
And they're like Doc Martens
Yeah.
at that. They're not heels.
Right. They were like real boots.
Like military boots.
Hey, you
sexy.
never know.
Yeah.
I've heard of weirder stuff than that.
And then he likes his finger, her finger probably in him. So she was trying
Oh
that.
my
Yeah.
God.
And then the way she was talking dirty to him.
That's
And
so
he's
funny.
like, and poor Aaron
He's
is
in
like,
shock. What are
Right.
you doing?
he's like, come on.
But you see, he was about to do it to her. And then after she started talking crazy, he puts the condom on.
yeah.
Right.
Did you guys notice
Yeah,
that?
good
He was
point.
gonna
Yeah.
go raw doggy. And then he puts the, he's like,
Raw doggy.
yeah, I'm gonna reconsider this. And he reaches
Yeah.
for the condom.
Yeah,
Not a
he's
moment
like,
before.
I know. He's like, yeah. After all of this, I don't know where you've been. We need to,
Where did you pick this up
Where
from?
did you get this from?
Well, I don't think that. I think that he remembers her from high school and expected this sweet girl.
Right.
and,
Right, she's
you know,
been tainted.
Right.
You can see,
tainted. She's been tainted.
you
Yeah.
can see it in their dynamic on their date, which was really sweet. You know, he goes and like goes and offers to get her a beer. which she's not
Right.
used to that kind of
Yeah,
behavior.
he was being really cool. I mean,
Yeah.
he was being really genuine, you know?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
she
he
was-
puts
she
his
didn't know what to
arm
make of it.
around her.
She said to her mother, but when she was telling
Yeah.
her parents were planning to have a dinner with her, when she says to her mom, like, look, I have a date tonight, and she says to her mom, she's like, look, I'm used to guys treating my heart like monkey meat.
Right.
And
right.
it'd be nice for a chance to have a nice guy take me out, which is something that Adam does not do, spend time with me, and be
Yeah.
treated like a lady.
Yeah.
She's not used to that. She's used to this whole douchey,
Game
dominating.
playing.
She said,
Yeah.
I feel like an invisible, delusional person.
Yeah.
Right.
And she is.
I can relate to that though. When we're just out of our mind about somebody and you
Absolutely.
lose yourself being crazy about them. So
Yeah.
in that moment, she just really needed to go out with this normal guy who winds up not really being like her type though. She likes the crazy Adam type. Like she likes to be a little mistreated though.
Because Eric's too
don't
vanilla for
most
her
girls
stories.
for a while? A
They
lot
like
of
the
girls
bad
do
boy.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we
that
all go through our
same
bad
so-
boy
Yeah.
phase.
Listen, we deal with this all the time, like in reality, for real. It's all the time. It's like that thing, like whatever that is. So that's that process of like in those early 20s, and sometimes it never ends. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Oh, it
So-
doesn't. It never
and then
ends.
you
There's
accidentally
always
have
a
kids by the bad
challenge.
boy, and then you're
Yeah.
wishing you didn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's the challenge that we kind of really kind of gravitate towards.
Yeah.
The cat and mouse game.
Yeah, the thing is like I said, Eric is too vanilla for her stories.
Right.
Adam is more
For her
along-
story.
For her stories.
Yeah.
Is that why she slept with him? To have a
Yes,
story out
to
of
have a
it?
story.
That's why she does everything she does.
Now, how awkward! Besides the whole tight like a baby, they're
That was funny.
they're in the room, they're making out. She takes off her clothes, he takes off his, and it was very early 20s, like
Very.
getting under the covers.
Yeah. There
Don't
was
see
nothing
me
sexy.
naked.
He's like, I don't want to pressure you. She's like, I like pressure.
Yeah.
Everything comes off.
Yeah, I thought that was the line of the night.
I mean, but I believed him for that second. That he was like, we don't have to rush this. Like, we can just talk. Because I think he
Yeah.
kind of liked her.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
she's like,
totally.
no, let's do this.
And
Yeah.
well, she was funny about it. She's like, well, what's your favorite part of fucking me?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I haven't done it yet. And that's where she goes to the experimental part, and she's like trying to slide her finger in his ass. And he, of course, is not receptive to that.
He's like,
And
whoa,
a lot of guys-
whoa, 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 whoa.
A
Yeah.
lot of guys aren't. To me, it's kind of weird, but some guys
Some
like
guys
it.
like it, but you never know till you try.
Yeah, very true. I get like 50-50 results with that. I'm just playing.
You know.
She's like, I'm just playing, but not really.
Kinda not.
I'm playing, but not really.
You know.
Yeah, but it was so awkward though, because you wouldn't do that. I don't think so fast, like boom, 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 like,
Right.
right away. Where you're just. I mean, I don't know. That's never happened to me like that fast.
You kind of work up to that.
Yes, that takes a little time.
But
like,
she's just going through the motions,
Yes.
like we said, like a robot or
yes,
Martian, as
yes.
what she's
Like a
learned along
Martian.
the process.
Yes,
Yeah,
totally.
definitely. Every sexual experience she has on the show has been 100% awkward.
Yeah.
Nothing sensual. I think she should watch porn.
Right.
I definitely think that Hannah should watch a
I
little
mean,
bit
there's
of porn.
no kind of foreplay. There's nothing to like anything. It's just like, bam, naked, do it, go.
Yes. But I
And
thought
then
that-
it's like weird, but it's weird, like even weird conversation.
Yeah.
It's like not sexy conversation. It's
Yeah.
like awkward positions and like.
and then they show us her face expressions. It looks like she's thinking
I
about
know.
other things while she's in the moment.
it
Like
just doesn't look like she's having that much
Yeah.
fun
So
every
Funny.
time she's doing
I know I'm
it.
the odd person out, but like I liked that because
no, we love that.
I
That makes
related
for
to it.
great
and
No,
just like
entertainment.
you said,
Absolutely.
like I mean,
You related to that sex?
I relate. Yeah, actually,
Sexual
yes.
experience.
I related to it in the context you guys were referring to earlier, which was when I was learning.
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
was like,
absolutely.
I wasn't that good at it. I needed to have a conversation about it instead of just like drinking and trying to figure it out.
Right.
Instead,
Yeah.
it's like, why don't I have a conversation with the person I'm about to sleep with and see what they like
Right.
and mess around
Yeah.
and talk about it. So I actually thought that was
It's
was
a
relatable.
trial
No,
and error.
it's definitely very relatable, and it does. I mean, I remember those years and all of that. Gosh, it makes me so glad I'm not that young.
Seriously.
Now you're just like a super expert. You got it down.
Absolutely, pro.
When you think about it, your early 20s and your first sexual encounters, they are kind of like
They're
that.
so
You don't
awkward and
know-
so ridiculous.
Yeah, you don't know what to say. You don't know how to feel. You don't know if like he wants his balls tickled or if he likes his earlobe nibbled on or does he like his nipples pinched. Like you don't know those
Because
kinds
you've
of
never
things.
experienced, you've only seen it on TV or film.
It's totally
if even
true.
that,
That's-
you really don't know, or you really don't. it's just so completely awkward, and I do love that part of the show
Yeah.
because
Yes,
it
yes,
makes
yes.
me remember.
Yeah,
Totally.
we're
all
talking
of
about
those,
it now.
yeah.
Well-
It makes you remember like your first time, your first few times, and like all of that, and it's always weird and embarrassing, and
Yeah,
the lights off and like
Yeah.
all that. Yeah,
my ex-girlfriend one time, we're actually in connection now, and this was years ago, like when I was like 24, and it's so funny because one time we were having sex, and the first time ever when I was getting ready to have an orgasm, and she's like, come in my mouth, and I was like, what? I was like shocked. I was like excited and terrified all at the same time.
You're like, I don't know
I
what
was
to
like,
do.
I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, I was embarrassed, like totally embarrassed.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't
You don't
know.
expect to
You
hear
know,
those
they
kinds
have
of
the
things.
No.
nowadays. They have
No,
we have
I was
TV,
not
we have
expecting that.
films, video games. You can
Video
learn
games.
how to have sex
they,
from.
They need to have video games where you can learn to have sex. I know there's a Playboy Mansion video game. I don't know what all you can do with that video game, but if you go to gamefly.com, that's the perfect solution. It's like Netflix for video games.
There you go.
So they have over
Nice.
8,000 games for PlayStation, Xbox, Wii's, and more. And so you go to gamefly.com/AfterBuzzTV and you get to try it out for a 15-day free trial. So go gamefly.com/AfterBuzz and check it out for 15 days for free. Video games, you can have just like Netflix. You can keep them for as long as you want, send them back when you're done, and get new ones. Because video games now are what, like $40-$50 each?
Yeah, they're pretty expensive.
I know. I have a Wii and I got like the Just Dance game, and
Oh, I
want to
have
get
that too.
I want to get like the new one, but it's like $55. I
Yeah.
don't play it enough for that.
We're gonna stick with the old
a
one.
bunch of new makeup I can get, so I can go to GameFly and rent that.
Yeah, definitely.
House party.
Hey, oh, hey.
Yes,
when you have your
my new
housewarming.
My new housewarming. I know. Everybody's gonna come over. We're gonna sign up for GameFly and play dance party in the front porch.
You see, age doesn't matter with Hannah as far as learning how to have sex
Right.
because her parents still haven't gotten it down right. I mean, they looked pretty
was
passionate,
hilarious.
but their experiences are very awkward. Kind of like what we'll see Hannah grow
Yes.
up into.
Yes.
That's how sex is going to be with Hannah's husband one day.
Oh
Correct.
my gosh, that sex scene with her parents was so ridiculous.
At first, I thought because the curtain was closed,
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow, did they graduate? Did Hannah and
Right.
Eric?"
Yeah,
I
I
did
did
too.
too. I
at
did
We were like,
first.
those are getting it on.
You know, what,
Yeah.
you know what they needed? I just happened to be in the Hustler store yesterday on
Just
Sunset
happened
Boulevard.
to be.
Yeah.
And they
Just by
Perusing.
chance.
they sold this sex in the shower kit in there where it was these mirrors that stick up on the tile, but then they also had these like suction cup holders.
Oh, that's
so
pretty cool.
and they like had a picture of the guy and the girl in the same position they did tonight, but he was holding on to these like things so that he could mount with
Right.
safety.
Safety.
That's like the
my
greatest
gosh.
invention ever.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it really is like a hazard
Yes.
place in the shower.
I seriously sat and looked at this thing and I'm like, this is freaking brilliant.
Right.
Mount with safety.
It's pretty hard in there. So I applaud her parents
I
for even making
know.
it that far.
I thought it was sweet and very passionate of her parents to have this interaction. I mean, it is their anniversary
Right.
after all. It was what Hannah was kind of
Right.
not implying like, don't you guys want to be alone on your anniversary? So when they're in the shower doing it and you can see their connection and how passionate they
Yeah.
were, and he like flips her and they're doing a doggy style, and then all of a sudden he goes flying out of the bathtub.
Oh my! And then knocks himself out.
But that's when his age was revealed. Like the awkward, that's where Hannah gets it from. You know,
Totally.
he's
Yeah.
like, what is he, like 50 now? And just one little slip and it was a done deal. And the fact that his mom didn't cover up her husband when Hannah walks in.
Oh my gosh!
I know.
HBO, really?
Yeah.
I know
know.
it's HBO and I appreciate a man's genitalia.
But
As do
HBO,
I.
really?
I did not want to see his genitalia.
Yeah.
Hey, I
I
want to
loved
see
it.
it
It was
however I
great.
can get it. I don't
Yeah,
care
that was great.
They show women's
Yes.
breasts and
They
body
do.
parts all the
It's true.
time. I don't
Very
care the
true.
age. I want to see it, even if it's on a dog. Show me.
Yeah.
Sorry, boobs are sexy, vaginas are pretty, penises.
Or what?
They're just not, to me, like, they're beautiful when they're risen.
So if he was erect, you would have been okay with that?
The penis does change shape a lot.
does.
It's a very dynamic
In
piece
this-
of my
It's
anatomy.
a dynamic organism.
In this situation, like, he's like,
We only want to see the penis at its best.
yeah, and
Yeah.
this was bushy, it was flip-floppy.
But yet the mother still loved him.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
That is true love right there. I appreciated
cover up
that.
his junk when Hannah walked in.
I mean, well, she was too worried about him. She
Yes.
didn't even think about it.
Well, I thought it
Correct.
was funny, so Hannah comes in
She,
from
like,
her
throws-
date.
I love that the reality of it. That
Yeah.
was cool.
That
I
the
like
parents were getting their freak on at the same time as their
Totally.
child.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was good too.
And so she has to help get her dad into bed. But I think it was that vulnerable moment that her mom kind of appreciated Hannah and her weird daughter for the moment. Because any other daughter would have been freaked out.
Well, and when we go back to their dinner, when they were talking about her,
Yeah.
let's take it back a little bit. Her dad is obviously worried about her. What kind of person is she going to grow up to be? What kind of person does a person like her become?
Yeah.
And her mom kind of comes to her defense a little bit more than we've seen
Right.
in the past
Yeah.
few
That
episodes,
was a little bit of
which I like.
Role reversal.
Right, because her dad is worried that she's just going to be too awkward to be able to handle the world. And her mom kind of defends her in a way that's like, she's just her. She does things on her own time. She learns, she has fun, and she learns from it when she's ready to, and she'll be fine.
I think she'll be fine only because the girls that she surrounds herself with, Marnie's very driven as far as her career is. And even though Jess is a little bit of a wild child, she still goes and hustles
Adventurous.
out there.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
An
She's an
adventurous.
adventurous woman.
Yeah.
She has the hustle, so she goes right away and she gets a job. I think that their influences are really going to help Hannah along her growing path.
Oh, definitely. That's what
Right.
girlfriends are for.
But it's gonna take some time naturally, and we don't know how much time, but it'll take some time. Where Hannah will eventually go and get another job and become responsible. But it's
And I
timing
think
is everything.
Shoshana too. I think Shoshana's going to help her maybe appreciate a little bit more of where she's at in her life and not feel always like the victim. I think maybe that Shoshana's being so kind of naive and so innocent in her life will make her kind of appreciate how far she's come and how experienced she already is in her life and kind of
Yeah.
take that in and learn from that and use that more in her writing.
Well, one thing that's going to be tough for Hannah is the fact that we've found out that her father doesn't really support her career because he said, when is she going to realize that she can't be what she wants to be or do what she really
Right.
wants to or aspires to do? And so her parents don't have any faith in her writing.
Well, they've never seen it, I think.
She
hasn't
read to
shown-
them. Remember before they were leaving, they were staying at the hotel and she read to
Oh,
them.
that's right,
Nine or
that's
10
right. But he
essays.
said,
Her writing.
we don't even know if she is a good writer. So I guess they're not hearing it.
It didn't
They're
register
not-
with
yeah.
them what the work
she's
she
not
read.
making a serious effort when it comes
No.
to
Right.
her writing. She wants to have this whole thing about essays, but it's like, okay, if you really enjoy writing so much, what else can you do beside like her interaction with Eric on the whole job situation? Well, I'm a writer. Well, do you make money doing that? No, I don't. Why she should go and get a column or work for a newspaper or
Intern, do something.
Yeah.
Work for
Yeah.
a book at a publishing company and really get into that whole thing.
I think that would make her parents also have more faith in her if she was actually on that track to do it. She's not.
No, she's not. She was living on their money. 9 essays in 2 years. Honey, there's 365 days a year. She should at least have 2 or 3 dozen of them.
I mean, I know like when I was in college and I wanted to come and live in Hollywood and be in the whole entertainment industry, from Texas, my mom was always very supportive because I did that. I interned at places when I was in school. I worked at a radio station while I was going to school. Like I did all of those things and I supported myself when I got out here. And so I never got, she was always like that, always wanting to help me and always kind of, you can be whatever you want to be if you try hard enough. And I think that's the part that Hannah doesn't get. You have to actually try. You can't just sit back and wait for it to come to you. And being in Los Angeles, I see a lot of that. A lot of people that just kind of sit and,
Right.
I'm this or I'm that. It's just going to come. No, you have to kind of hustle. You have to make it happen. You have to put yourself in those right places if that's where you want to be.
Well, I don't think anybody's told Hannah that yet.
No.
Right.
Because if they did, she probably would be like, oh, well, I need to apply for a writing job.
Yeah.
So she would probably go out and do that if so.
She
Yeah.
needs better guidance. My mom said this to me years ago, and it was the best advice I had ever heard. Opportunity does not knock on your door. You need to get off your ass and knock on opportunity's door. And until she learns that lesson,
Right.
she's going to keep coasting the way that she's been going.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we will get into predictions and any news and gossip
have
that you
some
have,
news,
and
yes.
we'll hear from our special guests and talk about their show, and they can tell us a little bit more about what they do.
Hey guys, what's happening? We are the America's Best Dance Crew ABDC After Show coming to you guys We watch the show every week just like you, and we go every Friday to the set to interview and talk to the crews behind the scenes and let you know what is happening behind the scenes.
Hey guys, this is the AFTERBUZZ TV crew for The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Woo! Don't forget to tune in every Monday night at 8 p.m. to see
Adrienne Barrow,
Deanna Vaughn,
Susan Hahn, Giselle Ugardi.
Buzz you later!
AfterBuzz TV. What do you want to buzz about?
All right. So, do we have some news and gossip?
We do.
Oh, all right. Let's get into it.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So this evening's episode was actually co-written. It was written with Judd Apatow.
Love
so I
that.
think that's why the episode was the way that it was regarding her parents. So that was a little fun tidbit to find out just a little while ago. That because usually Hannah, Lena's the one that does all the writing for the show. So to have another voice in there, I thought made for interesting. Also this week, Chris Abbott, who plays Charlie, was featured in GQ.
Nice.
Yeah.
Charlie is very GQ. I mean, he's
Yeah.
really, really cute. He doesn't have the
Super
swag on the
cute.
show.
And he discusses his character and breaks down his character to GQ on how he got, how he wound up dealing with it and learning about the character and how he feels that he's kind of a little bit of a poon. But in this in this GQ article, he goes as far to reveal that as the season progresses, Charlie will eventually grow a bigger pair of balls.
Nice.
And so that's going to be really nice to see him kind of start to man up and not be so much of a pushover when it comes to Marnie. And we'll get into that in the
So we probably
predictions.
are going to see, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a really cool
Versatile
article.
role.
He's a musician and he was on Broadway. He did that. He was in a play with Ben Stiller called House of Leaves, which if you've
wow,
ever
that's pretty
seen
cool.
that book, it is. I bought it once for a book club, and I was like, this thing is just freaking gigantic and very collegic. So for them to make a play out of it and him to be with Ben Stiller in it, I thought was really cool.
That's great.
So it just goes to show his versatility as an actor, and it's fun to see him in Girls and be excited about it. So yay for the GQ article.
That's great. All right, well, let's come over and chat with our new guests for tonight. So tell us a little bit about your show and what you guys normally talk about on a regular evening.
Well, the show's called themailroom.tv, or the Mailroom TV, but it's at themailroom.tv.
And male as in M-A-L-E.
M-A-L-E.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes, and you can
I
also
like,
find us.
I like.
Yeah, it's great. You can also find us at facebook.com/themailroom. And Brad and I are the two primary hosts, and our tagline is helping women understand men and men understand themselves. Because what Brad and I feel like we can bring is a really authentic, honest conversation that includes our personal experiences, but also just kind of shows a depth of conversation from men that you really don't see on any other show.
I was watching back to one of your episodes, actually, and I was very intrigued how you broke down. You were talking about Chris Brown and Rihanna and their reunion back together, and when you got deeper into why the dynamic, why that happens, how to change that type of behavior, it was very honest, because usually when you have a situation where there's some sort of abuse, it's always the person who hits fault.
Right.
And when you said, you're like, well, what did Rihanna do to piss Chris off for that all to happen? And I think that there's a very big audience for you guys, because a lot of people don't think about it in the bigger, broader thing. It's like, well, he hit me or she hit me, and I don't know why. It's like, well, did you check her phone? Did you cheat on her?
Has she ever hit him?
Yeah, did she? Like, there's a whole bunch of other things, and I really appreciated that, actually.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, the whole point about relationships is, Corey and I are very, we bring a lot of lightness and fun to it, but we're very serious about people having authentic, really working relationships.
Yay.
For that to happen, you have to take ultimate accountability, and that means it takes two people to tango in a relationship. And so I'm just tired of the crap of like he said, she said victim crap, because when you really like break it down, you see how you participate in a relationship and the energy you're bringing to it. So like in that situation, I've seen that. I've experienced some of like physical abuse in friendships and stuff like that, and I learned. And so when I was watching that, I was like, everyone goes, "Oh, Rihanna," and it's like, yeah, there's no excuse to hitting anybody.
Right.
But at the same time, I know that like she comes from a background of abuse and all that stuff, and everyone, you'll push someone to do things.
Right.
So it's like subconsciously, and it's just one of those things where you have to look beyond the surface level thing that happens and go, okay, why did that happen?
Right.
The same thing with Sandra Bullock and Jesse James when that happened. Like, it takes two people to tango.
Yeah.
There's two people. There's a relationship going on that you don't have any clue about
No.
underneath that. And that's the stuff that we are talking about on our show.
Well, and every human also is born with the ability to make a choice.
Correct.
Right.
And we don't always do it right the first time.
That's right.
But that's why we like to bring awareness to
And
all
learn.
these subjects. It's because no matter
Learn
what's going
from
on,
it.
yeah, you learn and then you can make a new choice,
Learn
regardless
from
of
it.
what the situation is.
Well, I
think
think
that's
it's great. I mean, I know myself and I know many of my girlfriends, we go out there and we buy, self-help books and, owning your inner bitch and Mama Gina's School of Womanly Arts and how to do all these things. So to get the male perspective and to hear you guys really break down and to the meat and potatoes, like be accountable.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't accountable when they're in relationships. It's
Yeah.
there's always seems to be one person doing more work than the other, and it's unfortunate.
Right.
And when you give people that type of knowledge and guidance, it's very helpful. People will be like, oh wait, maybe it is a 50-50 kind of thing, instead of like, I'm man, you're woman,
Right.
or vice
Right.
versa.
What was
your
like
role?
a power role.
Or like a 100-100 thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, and the other thing too is a big
Nice.
deal is people have to realize that a relationship is an element of your life. It isn't your life.
Right.
Your life is your life.
Yeah.
And whether you call it accountability, responsibility, or just loving yourself, that is your life. And then you make a choice. Who am I going to participate with? How am I going to participate? And if things don't go well, what can I learn from it? And will I make a different choice next time or not?
Yeah, it's a whole new way of looking at it. It really is a whole 100% accountability coming from a self-loving standpoint. And then you can choose into these interactions really powerfully or choose out of them. But you can eliminate all the drama and all the, it's like there's all the ego that's involved.
Right.
Right.
And that's where people have to start to go, okay, do I really want to have, like when I was asking you about, have you done that? Like as girls, there's so many girls who are like, they're still in that phase of like, they still kind of want the self-wounding,
Right.
stabbing themselves. So they go after the bad boy. And it's like, it's an awareness thing that you have to wake up and go, I really don't want that anymore. Like, and to choose a guy who's going to treat you well, you have to love you.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And you really do. It's not a concept. Like, you have to love yourself to have a guy who goes, look, I think you're awesome, but I'm not going to do all this stupid stuff to you. I'm going to communicate with you. I mean, I have girls I'm dating, things all the time, that are shocked because I'm such a good communicator. They're like shocked.
It
They're like-
is. It's
they're
a
like, "What the
rare trait
crap?"
in a male.
And I get that, and that's what we're trying to help men is get better
Well,
at.
bravo.
Is to communicate, because I was the bad communicator. We both were the terrible communicators, and the light bulb went on one time when I remember going, oh my God, the access to all this is communication. It is the cornerstone to having not just romantically, all your life relationships
Right.
work,
Right.
is communication. You have to know how to communicate and what you're communicating.
Well, that's great. And hopefully we can, Hannah is going to learn how to communicate. And then,
yeah.
Especially with Adam and that whole
Right.
thing, because when we saw the previews for the next episode, there's obviously going to be some time where they're going to, come back together a little bit. And, we'll see what happens. But let's get into some predictions and then see what you guys think about what's going to happen next.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
What do you think, Marty?
Well, I was really hoping this episode she was going to meet a nice guy and actually like the nice guy and be able to see that she's still dealing with the douche, because we kind of saw a little bit where she acknowledged, yeah, I did. I was with him 6, additional weeks than I should have been. But
Right.
yet we still see her fall into that back trap of going back with the bad boy, Adam. And so I think that Hannah needs to be abused just a little bit more until her breaking point, like most women. And then she's going to be able to move on and have a real functional relationship. But she won't ever do this again, hopefully.
Right.
And so I'm hoping next episode she meets a new guy to hook up with.
What about you?
Okay, so I think that, yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to piggyback on you for a second. Hannah is going to go back to Adam. She's going to have these expectations because, we saw that in this episode. He was like, I miss you. I'm like, where is this effing girl at? And
Saying all the right things.
yeah, he knows what the right time is to say the right things,
Yes.
even though he's totally wrong about it. And so she's going to go back into this and really just be hopeful based on his words, be disappointed again, and then turn to her friends for a little bit love and
Master
comfort.
manipulator.
Yeah.
So
What do you guys
see.
think?
I haven't seen all the other episodes up until this point, but I think it's different. I think that I have a weird feeling that this Adam guy's gonna like turn and like her.
Ooh, that would be
Ooh.
even better.
Yeah, I have this feeling that he's actually kind of like, I don't know. Just that short thing I saw, he's awkward and I get all the weirdness you're talking about, but there's like, is he from like another country or something? Do you know?
No.
I know. I don't think so.
He's from there.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because
He's just
weird.
He's just a
weird.
weirdo
But
too. That's why they
I-
make sense.
Yeah, but there's some. I've had this feeling he's gonna come around and like her.
That would be amazing, but unrealistic because majority of the time our bad boys who we think that if we love them enough they'll come around
Yeah.
never really happens. So that would be a great storyline for a romantic comedy, but it's just unrealistic.
I think that my prediction is that Hannah's getting stronger and more confident, and that he's gonna like her, and she's not gonna like him.
I'd like to see
like
that. I'd like
one.
to see that.
That's what I
Boom.
think's
Let's
gonna
go with
happen.
that.
I'd like to see that. Well, I
Corey,
think
what-
that Charlie's going to get a new girlfriend.
Oh.
And that Marnie's going to be a little bit jealous.
That's good.
I think, and then she's going to be rethinking her whole thing.
Corey, what do you think?
I just think that Hannah's parents are going to go to the store and buy those mount things for the shower.
and you can get those from Hustlers, but order on Amazon.
Yeah.
AfterBuzzTV.com. Click on our Amazon banner because then you're supporting AfterBuzz TV and you can get your own kind of bathroom
sex
thing. Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Make sure to download us on iTunes. To follow us on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV. You can follow me at Kellie with an IEO79, and where
You
can they find
can play with my Twitter anytime you want at
Wow.
spicy SPICY _MARI spicy _Mari.
I blush every time. You can find me on Twitter at Miriam L. Gonzalez.
Best place to find us real easily is facebook.com/themailroom.
All
Got
right,
it.
guys.
I'm gonna be looking you guys up instantly.
I know. Well, we will see you next time.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.